I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The more you talk, the harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Come on, you want me to drive? No, you're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with a brand new Christmas movie review, and we're going to Christmas horror with the first of these remakes, because we have one of these remakes coming out this week, and that's going to be for none other than 2012's Silent Night, which, alright, this beard's in my way. Silent Night, which is directed by Stephen C. Miller, and is the first of these remakes to be made, because, well, we have a second remake that's going to be an actual remake of the actual film that people confuse this with. Personally, to me, though, I don't think this really should be called a remake. And I'm going to get to why. But, as you all know, the plot of the 1984 original Silent Night, Deadly Night is this kid had witnessed his parents being raped and killed by a murderous Santa, and his grandfather had already burned an image that Santa would punish him if he was naughty, and he was scared of Santa Claus. And then the entire orphanage, he lived a very shitty life, then eventually was able to find work once he grew up. And then after that, came by the place and went on a murderous rampage. I reviewed the original years ago. I have not reviewed any of the sequels yet, really any of the sequels, but we are reviewing one of what people think is a remake of the original. But this is for the 2012 Silent Night. So, what's the plot of this version? So, there's a Santa-dressed killer on the loose Christmas Eve, and when Deputy Jordan goes AWOL, Deputy Aubrey Braddymore, that's planning on spending Christmas Eve with her parents, is forced to fill in for him by Sheriff Cooper. Aubrey stops at the church to think of John, whom she lost earlier that year. The peace she finds, though, is broken by a creepy minister. So back at the police station, the others are looking for suspicious packages before the parade, and Aubrey is first sent to a Santa telling kids nasty things, and then she's sent to a smelly abandoned house and finds Jordan dead. Evil Santa's first victim. She calls it in and looks for the woman reporting her missing. Evil Santa doesn't discriminate. He kills men, women, and kids. Will Aubrey and Nicole get their Santa this Christmas in a town filled with Santas? Who knows? So, as for my reaction, this is a remake that got hate from audiences, did not really get any wide release at all when it first released in 2012. It was in theaters for like 1 week, and then it went to DVD right away. That being said, I've only seen this movie in the original. The original movie, you all remember. I reviewed it in 2023. I like it. I don't love it. It's a nice holiday slasher, unrated film that you all remember got a lot of controversy upon release for its content. And a lot of angry parents hated the idea of a killer Santa Claus. Not because Santa's a children's icon, but apparently we couldn't have Christmas horror at all. We are starting to nowadays, though. Now, this remake, I wouldn't really call this a remake, per se, because it's got the same concept of a killer Santa. It's got one scene that references the original movie. It's got the somewhat same title, just take Deadly Night out, but it's just more of a different attempt with a killer Santa storyline, really. It just has the same title. It's got one reference to the original movie, but it's not necessarily a remake of that movie. It feels more like its own thing, really. I don't think people should call this a remake. But it's a solid slasher film. Is it as good as Silent Night, Deadly Night? Well, no. It's solid. It's solid as all. So how was this film made? Well, it was around 2006 when the idea to remake the original film series came in 2006. When they screened the first film, Scott Schneider co-created suggested the idea of a remake to Ryan Heppy, who worked at David Foster Productions on a development executive. And EP convinced Foster to announce that there would be a remake. So screenwriter Jason Rothwell had not watched the original version, so he said he was asked to write based on his own ideas what a Christmas-themed horror movie was. Rothwell just chose to base the film on the Coneva Massacre on Christmas Eve 2008. Bruce Jeffrey Potter opened fire at a Christmas party at his ex-wife's house and burned the house down, killed a lot of people, including himself, and wore a Santa outfit when he committed the crime. So, after this movie was officially shot and completed, Silent Night received mixed reviews from critics and audiences, only got a one-week release November 30th, 2012, and then got released on DVD and Blu-ray disc literally just 4 days after that on December 4th. Yeah. Wasn't really wide released or well known. Well, then again, neither was really the original movie, but the remake is getting, this upcoming remake from the Terrifier people is getting a bit more wide released. But it's also our Killer Santa is going to be played by Corey Myers from Halloween Ends. Woohoo! That's good news to hear. It's one of the worry things I have about that remake. Yeah, people totally want to remember Corey from Halloween Ends. People totally want to remember that character. Really don't think anybody wants to remember that character, right? Hopefully it's not false advertised like Halloween Ends was. Now back to this review. Here are the good qualities in the story of this movie. So, we're in the festive period, we all know. We're often rewatching all the Christmas films and stuff. Many I've already rewatched, and I reviewed a few specials this year that really give the special festive feeling. Like, the festive feeling, like, and stuff, like, it's joy. Whether some Christmas horrors I've rewatched this week, and including this. Yes, I'm doing a Terrifier 3 rewatch this year. Of course I am. And you got this, and heck, yeah, we even give it a rewatch in this whole Santa outfit the entire night with the Art the Clown mask. In fact, heck, I put this hat and beard on Art the Clown's mask on my closet, up on the closet shelf. Yeah, and okay. But anyway, so this is a first-time view. You don't see a lot of Christmas horror back then, well, but ever since Terrifier 3 came out, it is slowly kind of making a comeback. Somewhat-ish. Because of that movie, and this year we're getting a third remake. A more proper remake, though. It's starting to kind of come back, in a way. So, but this is like a decently fine festive slasher. It's not perfect, but, you know, it's kind of enjoyable. It's got some cool gore. It's got some cool camera work. It is loosely based on the 1984 Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. It has like one reference. It has the reference to the grandpa scene at the beginning of the film. The only really scene from the original you see in this version. But it still does tell the story of a murderous Santa who, not from a troubled childhood, but this time is just a Santa that's on a killing spree on Christmas Eve in a small town. It's got the tagline, knows if you've been naughty. It's kitsch, it's cheesy, it's brutal. It feels like it does go back to the traditional slasher flick of the 80s. The kills do come thick and fast. Santa shows no remorse to those that have been naughty. Each kill is different to the others. The brutality and gore is very plentiful. Of Saint Nick with a variety of weapons like axe, hatchet, knife, flamethrower, wood chipper, deer antlers, Christmas lights. He tears his way through his naughty list. And the people that are our main characters out to stop him are a sheriff that's played by Malcolm McDowell, who y'all know is from A Clockwork Orange, was Loomis in the shitty Rob Zombie Halloween films, in the role of Sheriff Cooper. And unlike Loomis in Halloween 2, Sheriff Cooper is actually kind of a decent character. And he has a team has Jaime King, who is from Sin City, was also from The Terrible, The Spirit, Ellen Wan from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Brendan Farr from CSI Miami. And Jaime King's character, Aubrey Bradmore, is established as the lead character. She's pretty much a nervous, unsure of herself, and she leads the hunt to track down Santa after Sheriff Cooper asked her to fill in for an employee. Like, the film takes place in Midwest on Christmas Eve, and there's, like, ironically no snow in the movie. The grass is all green. Like, even when there's, like, no snow on the Christmas season there, the grass still looks very dead, and that's the thing. If this is supposed to be a Christmas horror film, like, can you add at least a little snow? Please? Like, don't we see snow a lot of times in a lot of Christmas films, so why can't there be snow here? There was snow in the original movie. Like, why does it look like just a pure all green, basically? It doesn't even look like Christmas there. And once again, people should not be calling this a remake. It's got some of the inspired ideas. It's got one scene from the original. It's got the same title. It's got the same concept, but it's not the same plots. It's a different story. Right there. It's a different kind of Killer Santa story. It's not the same story that people are thinking. Like, like, I wish this was really called anything else. Not sound nice, so people wouldn't confuse this for another version of the original movie. It really has nothing in common beyond the title, and you could just call this anything else, and you would really miss nothing. So how do we start off the film? So we start off the movie with this man that dressed up in a Santa Claus suit with a mask. He doesn't show his face till near the end. This Santa killer captures and kills a deputy sheriff named Jordan. And then, of course, that's our opening murder scene. Or actually, it's in a small town. Jordan is sleeping with having an affair with this married girl, and gets electrocuted with Christmas lights in his house. Then the next day, Sheriff Cooper, Malcolm McDowell's character, calls Aubrey Bradmore on her day off when Jordan doesn't arrive at work. And she ends up being a new addition to the sheriff's office and is reeling from the death of her husband. And she doesn't think she's really a good deputy and trying to really live up to her father, because her father's a retired sheriff. And she wanted to spend the holidays with her parents, but unfortunately now she has to go into work because Jordan's not around. Has to go check on Jordan and finds his body. And also Roach's body. And both of them are dismembered. Later on in the day, but Sheriff Cooper doesn't want to tell the mayor about this until the case has been fixed. And then we get back to more of this masked Santa killer who does some other murder sprees. He kills some people who have done something that he apparently considers naughty. Then he kills this bratty teenage girl with this cow prod and other electric stuff. And then he goes to a motel and murders these porn stars. And then one of them does manage to escape and tries to hide at a Christmas tree farm, but the killer chops off one of her legs and kills her and throws her into a wood chipper. Then Sheriff Cooper calls in another deputy named Stanley Gills, and they have to go find the killer himself. But then comes back empty-handed, and the killer Santa is going on more killing sprees, and then goes to a church and kills the perverted reverend guy for stealing donation money. Which, yeah, that would seem like a naughty thing to do. And Ari does try to suspect that this drug dealer is the killer, and this is a small town movie. They had quite a few suspects that could be this killer. They either suspect a drug dealer or a perverted priest or a drunk Santa. That you get this scene of this drunk Santa that's telling these kids bad things, and apparently the parents have been complaining about him, and that's why Giant King is investigating him for a brief bit. Right there, who's playing Santa, who's playing a typical mall Santa role, but he's not the killer. Or someone involved in a night that Santa turned a flamethrower on a party. And this film was based off a real holiday massacre. About a real guy that dressed as Santa killed 9 people with gunshot wounds and fire and then killed himself. It's amazing how kind of decent and some good gore Silent Night 2012 is. Director Stephen C. Miller, barely did go to action films after this, because that kind of sucks, because I wish he did do a few more Christmas horror films, because I thought he did actually decent with this. This film was no masterpiece, but this had some solid stuff. The script is pretty great too, and the acting, yeah, The acting for a modern slasher film is a little campy at times, but it works quite well for some of the humor. The little like the drunk Santa scene is kind of funny. What he's like telling the kid not to trust his parents, that does get a laugh out of me. The perverted priest guy, before that guy gets his desserts. That church scene's bit's funny. Like when the killer Santa goes to a church and listens to a sermon, and only one old lady is there, and the killer Santa kills him, and the old lady begs that she won't tell anybody, but the killer Santa doesn't actually kill her. He clearly acknowledges that she probably won't tell anybody, and it's probably on the last 2 bits of her life anyway. So he spares her and leaves her with money not to tell anybody and stuff. Or I think that was basically the money that the priest stole. He gives her that money, and then he bails, so he lets her live, at least. So, at least he lets that old lady live, because, well, that old lady didn't really do anything wrong. She was just kind of there. He was just there to kill the priest. The gore is definitely very fun. And it really takes, like, the mickey out of itself. And it's an entertaining holiday slasher. The original one is still better. I mean, the story was better developed in the original, though this one, the characters are kind of better developed, but they lack good dialogue. Yeah, some pretty good characters. Malcolm McDowell's sheriff character is actually kind of good. Yeah, definitely a much better Christmas film that he was in, better than Home Alone 5, which came out the same year as this. The characters are better well, no, it's a viewable film, and it's a fine addition. It's like probably the only tolerable follow-up of the series, because the rest of the follow-ups are terrible. The only good one was the first, and I guess kind of this one. We'll see how this new remake goes, but I hope it ends up good. So, Aubrey tries to interrogate her suspects. She tries to interrogate Carson first, but he flees, and Aubrey gets chased. But then she's nearly killed but nearly saved by Cooper. And Aubrey Cooper believed that the saboteur it's the saboteur Jim Epstein. So the killer arrives at Mayor Revy's house and murders him. And his porn star daughter Tiffany and her boyfriend Dennis. And during the Christmas parade, Aubrey's still looking for the killer, but can't identify him on a bunch of men dressed up as Santa Claus in the parade. She arrests Jim, though, when he flees from her. And then goes to Carson's motel room to arrest him. Is forced to kill him when he draws a gun. And then Aubrey notices a gift box that contains some coal. And of course recalls the situation her father had received the same gift. And then Aubrey goes to her parents' house, but her father's dead. Her mother's hiding in the closet. Then the killer goes to the station and attacks them. And kills Sheriff Cooper with a flamethrower. Which I kind of wish that didn't happen. I wish they didn't kill Malcolm McDowell off. He kills Gills with axe to the eye. And he beats Jim to death with brass knuckles. And Aubrey and Brenda, the station's secretary, get cornered by the killer inside the police station. And the killer tries to burn down the building with a flamethrower, but Aubrey is able to overpower the killer Santa and set him on fire. And pretty much leaves the station with Brenda, though, but the killer does manage to escape. But Malcolm McDowell does a decent performance as Sheriff Cooper in this film. This one, he actually is a pretty likable sheriff. He's not too much of an asshole per se. He's a decent sheriff. He's not a great sheriff, but you can tell at least he's actually trying to stop this killer, and he's trying to put an end to this killer's crimes and stuff. At least he does care about the town. This is a slasher film that you can just really pop on, just sit back, have a bowl of whatever's in front of you. And that's sure what you see unfolding on the screen. Even though if you get irritated by characters that do some stupid things, that get followed by their inevitable death, well, that does happen, but then again, it's a slasher film. And the characters do kind of do that. If you picked, maybe a better storyline, this actually could have been a pretty good film, and there's some undesirable folk for our killer Santa Claus to go after, from either this bratty teenage girl that complains about eBay gifts, or this pervy priest who's pervy with pornographers. I think even takes a picture of just kinky dress performers and gets lower areas and makes excuses. Come on, let's get that photo better. But he's keep trying to take a picture of their body parts and stuff. Seriously, fuck this character. I'm surprised none of these girls get onto him about that. But he has some pretty good gore to go with it. Like a head split in two with an axe, someone getting fed with a wood chipper feet first. There were some nice kills here. Like you have the opening scene kill where a guy gets wrapped up in Christmas lights and gets electrocuted. We see him shaking smoke and his eye explodes and blood sprays out. It's like the camera work on these kills is good. It's very frantic. It's very energetic. And I think easily, well, no, not the best kill. I get to the best kill in a little bit. When it gets to the bright eBay complained teenage girl, the killer electrocutes that girl and foam comes from her mouth, gets impaired with a spear weapon, but it cuts before we actually see any impalements. We see the aftermath though, the girl has a bloody hole in her chest. And now the best kill is easily the tree cutting death in the tree forest. So this woman's leg that the killer goes after gets cut off with an axe, and the limb goes flying. Blood flows from the stump where the leg was cut off, and you see the leg just lying there. At first, I thought this killer Sam was going to put the leg inside the wood shredder, but the killer pushes the same woman into the wood chipper. This is like the goriest death. To me, if I had to pick which death was the best in the movie, it's easily the wood chipper death. The wood chipper death is the best part of the film. Like, this death was my favorite. This death was very creative. Right there. And you can tell how practical it really looked. And the woman gets grind up and blood sprays everywhere. The killer gets covered in blood after pushing her through the wood chipper. And of course, like, you do see, now they do show the killer's face in the end of the film. At first, he kind of does somewhat look like Pinhead with all the needles in his face. And then, of course, after he survives a flamethrower attack at the end, half his face looks like Freddy Krueger's face. It's all burned up and scared. He's missing an ear. You see the ear hole in the side of the face, and it's a pretty graphic kind of shot. Now, once again, like I said before, it's not like a straightforward remake of the original movie. It does pay homage to it. Like how Linnea dies in the original, it pays homage to that. The grandpa scene at the beginning of the original, it pays homage to that with a different character, but it doesn't really get referenced again. The killer Santa, it still takes reference from that. Like, he's still, like, punching people who are naughty. It does take reference to that. Like, it takes some references to the original, but it's not, like, the same plot as the original movie. Like, it's a solid film based on its own merit and storyline. With some great gore and great death scenes, some not bad characters. I mean, they're not annoyingly insufferable. They're actually kind of decent. They just don't feel well written. So now we get on with the finale of this movie. So it gets revealed that the killer Santa is named Ronald Jones Jr., who is the owner of a chimney cleaning and repair service, and he survived the flamethrower attack. And during the hunt for the killer, then Aubrey learns from Carson that Ronald Sir crashed his ex-wife's Christmas party years ago and burned her alive with the homemade flamethrower, hence the inspiration for the 2008 massacre in that little bit. Aubrey's father, Hank, was the deputy that responded to the situation, got him down, and the flamethrower exploded and burned him to death. And it finds out Ronald Jr. was in his father's truck watching the entire time. And this tragedy caused Ronald Jr. to go insane and seek revenge. He was dressed as Santa so he would not get caught during Crier's Christmas festivities. And the last shot you see is Ronald Jr. leaving Crier in his truck. Right there. And pretty much then being ready to come back and do more massacres. But sadly, we never really got a sequel to this movie, unfortunately. So, which kind of sucks. And, well, it didn't really do well, and it wasn't really well noticed, so that's why we never really got a sequel. And plus, Anchor Bay Studios is no really longer around. And that kind of sucks because Anchor Bay does pretty good with horror films. Like, they definitely did good, like, handling the older horror films that I love from the 80s. And that's how Silent Night 2012 ends. Aubrey did manage to burn Ronald Jr. alive in a confrontation at the station, and stopped his rampage, escaped the building with Brenda, but her father died, the town lost its mayor, its sheriff department gutted, Cooper died, and Aubrey's the only surviving deputy, and Ronald Jr. is still alive and leaves Crier for parts unknown. Ready to do some more killings elsewhere. His killings continue. Ronald Jr. is still going strong. Just ready for more. But sadly, we never really got to see what else happens of this version of our Killer Santa. Alright, so now do I have any bad qualities? This should have, like I said, this should have been called Really Anything Else, because it's not really the movie that your people were probably thinking of when they watched this. It's really something else. The opening scene of the movie wasn't really too intense. It was some nice kill, but to me, like the tree wood chipper kill is where the movie does improve. The end scene wasn't really unexpected. The plot twist was very predictable, and having the killer survive was actually kind of predictable as well. I wish they didn't kill off Malcolm McDowell's character, also, because I kind of liked his character. But it's still got some good gore. It's got a not bad story. It's got not bad characters. It's got some good gore effects. And it's kind of fun and enjoyable. So those were my downturns with the movie, but it's an enjoyable slasher film that you could pretend isn't really associated with the Silent Night series. You could pretend this is really any other Killer Santa movie, because it's actually kind of a fun film. Really, it's like one you can pop on as an occasional time waster. So in the end, Silent Night 2012, it's more of a stream Christmas horror film. You want to see a different kind of Killer Santa movie that could feel somewhat like the one you may be thinking of, but don't expect the same version. You want the same story you're familiar with. Probably just wait for that one that's going to be out tomorrow. Anyways, that's it for my view of Silent Night 2012. If you're wondering regarding Silent Night 2012, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you like the original or are expecting something like it here, well, that's not really going to be the case with this movie because it's a different story with the same title, but it's an enjoyable slasher film worth streaming. If we're going to go Silent Night 2012, I'm going to give Silent Night 2012 a 6.5 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That officially wraps up my review for Silent Night 2012. Now I want to know the comments down below what you guys think about this remake for those who have seen this remake, or somewhat-ish remake. So if people want to still call it a remake. And what are your guys' hopeful thoughts for the new version we're getting? And until then, guys, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Donji Corleone.